Hi guys, good morning all of you. Today in this demo we are going to learn how to SSH into a remote VM instance. In this demo I am going to take the GCP as a platform because each and everything is same even if you would like to work with the AWS Azure. But for this demo purpose I am taking the GCP platform in order to create a remote VM instance, and then later I will connect to that VM instance from the VS Code installed on my machine. So it works for all the compute engines. They may run on the GCP platform, or they might be running on the Azure cloud or even AWS cloud. So you can take any cloud, and if you have the account, and you can work on this particular process of SSHing into your remote VM instance. So let's get started with the job. So in order to do this one, we require some steps to be followed. The first one is like we need to have a VM instance in the GCP platform. So for that, I am going to create one VM instance in the GCP cloud, and in second step, from my VS Code editor, I am going to connect to that particular VM instance that is called SSH into VM instance, remote VM instance. That means you are making a tunnel, SSH tunnel, in between your VS Code editor and the SSH server, which is spinning in the GCP platform. And the third step, like we need to install the Apache Airflow because we are going to create the DAGs from the VS Code, and even we can monitor all these DAGs from Web Server Interface by providing certain permissions from the VM instance side. Then you can monitor the DAGs from your VS Code itself. Very important, guys. So in this demo, you require some prerequisites in this regard. The first one is you must have a created account to create a VM instance from the GCP platform. I do have a one account and VS Code editor. So this software is also to be installed on your VM instance. It is required to have the VS Code editor installed on your machine, local machine. Very important. So before creating the VM instance, let us have a brief introductory part of how to like this VM instance get connected with the local VS Code in order to make a remote development using the SSH. That means that if you have the VS Code installed on your machine and if you have a VM instance spinning on the GCP cloud, the SSH server is running on that VM instance. And here in the local machine, you will be having the VS Code. From this to this VM instance, you will be making one SSH tunnel which connects you to the SSH server, and there you will be having the folder access and file access also. There you can install the softwares on that VM instance from your local machine through the VS Code, and this Visual Studio Code remote SSH extension allows you to open a remote folder also on the remote machine. That means it is the virtual machine or a container. So with this SSH server, and you can take the full advantage of the VS Code feature set, and you can connect to the VM instance. Very important, guys. That means that no source code needs to be on your local machine to gain these benefits, since the extension helps you like having all the runs required for this one, and you can run the commands from the your VS Code, and then other extensions directly can work on the remote machine. That is very important. Whatever the command that you run from the VS Code will be running on the remote SSH server. So that is the very important. We are going to, practice, and even if you are going to install the Airflow from the VS Code on the VM instance on the GCP platform. So now, in order to show you that one, I am moving on to the creator account of the GCP platform. So let us create the VM instance first. Yeah, this is my pre-tier account. So I do have one account with the GCP cloud in my pre-tier account. That is my project. So under this project, I am going to create one VM instance. So in order to create the VM instance, we need to hit the create instance button. So I clicked on the create instance button. Now I landed on this page. Guys, you must remember one thing. So you can create a VM instance from all these options. Anyone you can pick up, but I am going to take this new VM instance creating from the scratch because so it will be having all the options. So these options should be provided by myself while creating this instance. So you can create this VM instance from the template and even the you can select the one of the machine image and even you can go with the marketplace. But out of this, I'm selecting this one. And after selecting this scratch section, and now I need to give the VM instance name. So I am giving the VM instance name here, VM instance demo SSL. So here, make sure the name of the VM instance should have the 62, I mean, in between 3 to 62 lowercase letters. Very, very important. You can give the icons also. And coming to the region and zone, the region and zone are permanent one. If once it is these options are selected, they would not be altered or edited once the VM instance is created. Guys, I don't want to cover all these options. I don't want to explain them. So with this basic information, with the basic default selections, I am going to create this VM instance. Our main motto is to connect to this VM instance from the VS Code. I am selecting this E2 mission only, and in the preset we have the like two vCPUs with 1 core and 4 GB memory. But I am changing this one to the standard with the 4 vCPUs. And coming to the other parts, like I am not changing anything, and simply I am changing the boot disk size. So even I'm not changing boot disk size, but I simply am selecting the operating system from the Debian to the Ubuntu. I'm changing this. Select. After this, if you come down, you will be having the firewall setups. You can select these two, or even you can ignore this, no issues for this demo purpose. Then I am just simply hitting this create button in order to create this VM instance. Hardly it would take 10 to 20 seconds to create the GCP, to create the VM instance for the GCP platform. Let us wait for that. Yeah, the VM instance is created at Azure US Central 1A. Now our next step is to connect into this VM instance from the VS Code. So let me move on to the VS Code. Guys, this is my VS Code editor. Here we need to click on this extension button. If you click on this one, the extensions options will be displayed. Here you need to type the remote SSH. So this is the remote SSH software you need to install on your machine. So you need to click on this one. So once you click on this one, you will be having the option like install, but in my case, it is uninstall because it is already installed on my machine. Please select install if you haven't yet installed the remote SSH on your local machine. And then you need to move on to the view menu. There you need to select the command palette option. Then you will be having this particular options: remote SSH, open SSH configuration file, and remote SSH connect to this host. Out of these two, you need to select the open SSH configuration file. And you can come to this place by simply selecting this option, or even you can select the Control plus Shift plus P button. You can press these composite buttons, and even if you press the F1 key on your lap keyboard, you will be landed onto this option. Here you need to select this Open SSH configuration, and then you will be having the SSH config path. You need to select this one. Guys, Here I am having host section, host name, user, identifier. But in your case, if it is it is the first time you are seeing this configuration file from your VS Code, then you will not be having this option. But there you need to add this identity file option, and then you need to give this path. I will explain to you how to give this path and why we should select this path, all these things, because I have already configured one SSH connection, so that's its details are shown here. And of course, even you are free to change all these options with the new connections. I'm just keeping them all these like remote SSH GCP VM instance, but the host name like IP address is going to be changed because I created the new VM instance on the GCP platform. So that's external IP address is to be given here. And here user, I gave the name like Love Honey, and you can give your username, and even you can give the host name. I mean, you are free to give the host name also. So let me first of all change this host name IP address. For that, I need to move on to the VM instance page. So I'm going onto that page. Just take a look at this one. This is the VM instance demo SSH we created. Here you need to select this external IP address. Copy this one and go on to the VS Code again. So here we need to change this external IP address. So it is done. And I gave the host name like remote SSH GCP VM instance and username Lau Honey. And the identity file path, I'm going to change this one later on. And for that, I'm just removing this one. Now we need to open one terminal window, new terminal window. Okay, so this is the terminal window. So from here we need to run some specific commands, so very important. So in order to, generate the SSH private and public keys pair, very important one. So for that I am just creating one directory, make dir and my keys, very important, my keys. So this is the new folder is created. I'm just going on to this particular path. So now I am here in the new path. This is my underscore keys path. So I am going to utilize this for generating the SSH keys. So this is the command SSH keygen. It is used to create the private and public SSH key pair. So for this one, I am providing the file path for this one, remote SSH GCP VM instance. So this is the remote SSH GCP VM instance, and the user is like love2018 honey. So I'm giving the 2018. This is the username, and this is 2048 is the size of this particular SSH key file size in the bytes. You can change this one like it is 2048 bytes, and you can give it like 40 and 96. So you can use that one also. When you give the enter button, then it will be asking some passphrase, but I'm skipping this one because we need to keep this one with us. But in order to avoid the conflicts, I'm not giving any passphrase here, and even it is asking the second time, but I'm not giving it. Now the new key for this particular connection, it is given here, very important, you need to understand. So this is the new key. So using this one only, we are going to connect to that particular VM instance. So let us just simply run the dir. Now here, in the same my underscore keys path, you are having two keys. One is with the private key that is not having any extension here, and the second one is it is having .pub extension that is public. This is the two keys here. One is with the private and second one is the public key. So we need to give this public key, private key path in this identity file. Very important. this remote SSH GCP VM instance path is to be given for this one. So very important, guys. So that is the path you need to select. So I'm going to give this path here, that is C and the slash users and mesham and then my underscore keys, and then this is the private key you need to give. So this is the path for connecting to the VM instance using this private key, and you need to provide this public key in the VM instance that you created there. So let us open that one. Open file, open the folder, and here you need to select the C drive and the users and go to the mesham. Here you have the my keys, right? So select the my keys and select the folder. So here, if you hit the remote SSH VM instance, you will be having the private key ID, and if you hit this public one, you will be having this public key path. Very important. Now you need to select this public SSH key, and then you need to give this one in the VM instance under the SSH key section. Now I came to the VM instances page. Now here click on this VM instance and click on the edit and come down. So if you scroll down up to the SSH keys section, this is the SSH keys section. Here you need to add this item and you need to provide that SSH key here and then simply save it. So now the public key is saved on this VM instance in the under SSH key section. Now let us jump on to the VS Code editor. Now here again you need to select the view and the command palette. This time you are gonna select the connect to SSH host. Then you will be having the remote SSH GCP VM instance name. So this is the host name. You need to select this one. Then new window opens up. So in this window, it is asking like continue. So select the continue. Yes. Now you are here in the new page. Here you need to open the folder, and now you will be having this Lao2018 HANI. It is the username you gave in the previous step, right? So simply select OK. Now that SSH connection in between your VS Code and the VM instance is going to be established. Now you got all the configuration files and the file paths of the VM instance that is running on the GCP platform. Now if you look at this SSH, you will be having the authorized SSH keys. So this is the SSH key that you added to the SSH keys section in the VM instance just before few seconds. So that is very important, guys. So now you are into this one. So here you are able to connect to this VM instance from the VS Code editor. Now our next step is to install the Airflow. So let us install the Airflow. As I said earlier in this demo, I am going to cover even the step like creating the VM instance and connecting to the VM instance from the VS Code and then installing the Apache Airflow. So let us install the Apache Airflow in this VM instance. Now here simply you can close this authorized key, but here what you need to do, here you need to open one terminal again. This terminal window, yes, here you are having your user name here, so Lahu2018HANI, and the VM instance that you connected from the GCP platform. So VM instance demo SSH, it is the name that we gave for our VM instance. Now if you run lsal, yes, so it will be showing all the configuration files and the folders which are displayed here. So you will be having all these profile, bash, or C and all these caches and all these things. So these are displayed here. So very important, you need to understand. So in the next step, we need to install the Airflow on this VM instance. For this one, we need to update this one sudo get apt update. Sorry, sudo apt get. So it will update the machine. So very important. And then we are going to install the Airflow on this machine. So we are now running one special. After we update this VM instance, we need to install the Apache Airflow on this machine. So in order to do that one, we need to run we need to create the virtual environment for this one. So in order to do that one, first of all, let me run sudo apt get install Python pip on this machine. Very important. Just give the capital Y. Okay. Now clear this one. Now you need to you can check the version of this one pip3 and hyphen version. Okay, that's good. And now you need to install the virtual environment. For this, you need to run the sudo pip3 install virtual env. So this command will install the virtual environment on this machine. So that is done. And then we need to create the virtual environment. So then use the virtual env and then -p Python and VNV. So this is the virtual environment name VNV I'm giving. So virtual environment is created. Again, clear this one. And now you need to activate this virtual environment. For this, you need to you can check the virtual environment here with the ls command. Yes, now you need to activate this one. Source VNV been activated. So the virtual environment is activated. You can take a look at this one. So now here you need to run this pip install Apache Airflow. So this is very important. This command will install the Apache Airflow on the VM instance that you created on the GCP platform from the local machine through the VS Code. It is really very important point you need to remember. Now the Airflow is going to be installed on the VM instance, not on your local machine. You need to understand. So this command will run this command on the SSH server remotely, and there this Airflow is going to be installed. Yeah. Yes. So Airflow is installed. Clear it, and now Airflow db init. You need to run this command in order to yes. In order to initialize the DB, so you need to run the airflow db init command. So it initialization is the range. Now the airflow db is initialized. So with this command like airflow db init. So after this, you need to know one thing. So this basic installation comes up with the default metadatabase that is SQLite, and even the executor that is sequential. So you need to understand. Now, if you run the list, you will be having the folder Airflow, so which is very important. You need to go on to this Airflow. So here you need to give the pwd command. So this is the path of the Airflow home. So that is to be set for this one. Export Airflow environment variable is to be changed for this one home. You need to select this path. This is the home directory for this Airflow environment. So now clear this one. So with this step, you have installed the Airflow. You can take a look at this one. Airflow logs, Airflow config. You can select this one. The Airflow config file is here. So later on, you can change the Airflow config file according to your requirements. Even you can create the DAX folder here, and you can deploy the DAX in the DAX folder, and then you can initiate the scheduler and the DB and web server from this one. So those things are going to be covered in the next videos. Please wait on. And that is the stuff from my side today. So this is the simple demo regarding how to create a VM instance on the GCP platform, and later on how to connect to the GCP Winsta from the this VS Code editor from the local machine. So it is very important. This remote SSH connection makes a SSH tunnel in between your local machine and the SSH server. So whatever the command that you run from the VS Code will be run on the VM instance only. So that is the main thing you need to remember. Using that stuff only, we install the Apache Airflow. And now, so after doing all this thing, you need to understand one more thing, that is like, so we need to run the web server user interface, and even we need to run the scheduler, and we need to create the DAX folder there, and we need to deploy the DAX in this particular folder. And one more thing, we need to set the firewall setup for having the web server running on our local machine. So for that, those steps are going to be covered in the coming videos. Please watch all of them. So thanks for watching this demo also, and subscribe my channel, hit the like button and share it to your friends and all. Thank you once again. Please share this video with your friends.